Welcome to the Cozy Storytime, your peaceful space to unwind and relax. Before we start, make sure to subscribe and like the video for more cozy stories every night. So, where are you watching it from? And what are you doing right now? I hope you enjoyed this story. Tonight, let us leave the noise of the world behind. Let your breath slow, your shoulders soften, and your thoughts gently quiet. You're in a safe place now, surrounded by warmth and wonder. This is a space for imagination, where time doesn't hurry and every word falls like soft rain on the soul. The world will still be there tomorrow, but for now, this moment belongs to you. So close your eyes if you wish, or leave them open and let your mind wander. We're about to step into a tale that's quiet, mysterious, and wrapped in gentle magic. Let the rhythm of the story carry you like a small boat across still waters. Tonight's story is a gentle fantasy, full of whispered secrets and candlelit hallways, where nothing rushes, and even the wind knows to tread softly. Set in the timeless stone corridors of Hogwarts, a place where every shadow has a memory and every silence holds a truth, we follow a quiet unfolding, not of battle or noise, but of something older, something waiting. You, a student whose name the castle seems to remember, will wake to find a door open that was never meant to open, a door that holds your name. But don't be afraid. There's no need for fear here, only curiosity, the hush of turning pages, and the warm company of friends who walk quietly beside you. This is not a story of urgency. It is a story of deep breaths and soft footsteps. So wherever you are right now, curled up in bed, lying under the stars, listening with your eyes half closed, I invite you to settle in. Let the gentle pull of mystery guide you. The castle is quiet. The moonlight pools on stone. A badge waits in your pocket. Its glow like the fading memory of a dream. And somewhere, behind a door, once thought forever locked, your story is already unfolding. Now, take one more slow breath, and when you're ready, we'll begin. The common room is quiet tonight, as if the stone walls of Ravenclaw Tower have drawn a soft breath and held it. Moonlight filters through the tall arched windows, casting silver ladders down to the worn blue carpet. You sit by the hearth, the fire reduced to soft embers, and watch the last flickers of warmth curl upward like ghosts in flight. There is no sound but the faint rustle of parchment from another student studying late, and the low cooing of an owl nestled in its cage by the window. Even the wind seems hesitant, brushing past the glass as if uncertain whether to knock or pass by. In this rare quiet, your mind floats untethered. You think of nothing in particular. Only let the calm soak into your skin like warm rain. Your eyelids grow heavy. You make your way to bed. In your dormitory, the blue canopy above your bed ripples with shadows from the firelight outside. Your sheets are cool, and the faint smell of lavender from Madame Pomfrey's enchanted laundry drifts up as you lie down. The silence wraps around you like a shawl, and you welcome it. Dreams come quickly, faster than usual. You're walking down a corridor you don't recognize, though it feels vaguely familiar, as dreams often do. The torches flicker with greenish-blue flames, humming softly like they're singing something under their breath. The stone beneath your feet is cold, and the portraits that usually line Hogwarts walls are blank, as if someone has wiped the canvas clean. You should be afraid, but you aren't. The air is thick with something ancient, old magic, old secrets. Ahead, a door looms at the end of the corridor. It's vast and rounded at the top, carved with spirals and strange runes that shimmer faintly in hues of silver and onyx. It doesn't belong to any part of the castle you've ever seen. No lion-shaped knocker, no house crests, only the symbol of a half-moon cupped by two mirrored hands. You reach for it, but before you can touch the door, a voice breathes behind your ear, deep, velvet soft, and strangely familiar. It speaks two words you don't understand. They feel like a song or a command, and your lips echo them without meaning to. Vox umbra. The door glows faintly. You blink, and when your eyes open, you're back in your bed, breath caught in your chest, the words still clinging to your tongue like dew. You sit up slowly, disoriented. The dormitory is as it was, quiet, undisturbed. Outside, the moon still hangs above the forbidden forest, its light dimmed by a thin veil of cloud. You glance at your roommates, all sleeping soundly, unaware. Everything feels normal, yet there's something lodged in your chest, something neither fear nor peace. You whisper the words again, testing them. Vox umbra. They stir something in the air. A slight movement in the fabric of the canopy, a soft pulse in the tip of your wand resting on the nightstand. The very stones beneath the tower feel like they listen, like they've been waiting for that sound. When you sit at the long Ravenclaw table, the castle feels different. It's as if the very air around you has thickened, though no one else seems to notice. Students chatter and laugh around you, filling plates with eggs and toast and steaming porridge, their voices echoing off the high stone walls. But you hear something beneath it all, a low hum like an invisible harp string stretched taut. You glance at your goblet, and for a moment, the pumpkin juice within seems to ripple in a strange rhythm. You blink, and it's still again. Across the table, Liz raises an eyebrow, but says nothing. She always notices, but she never presses. You're grateful for it. You try to sleep again, but sleep avoids you. Instead, you stare at the ceiling, letting the whispers of your dream echo in your mind. You try to recall the door, the exact color of the runes, the timbre of the voice. Every time you focus, it fades a little more, like fog dissolving under sunlight. Yet the sensation remains, a soft pull, like a tide turning somewhere beneath your skin. Hours pass without your notice. The first grey fingers of dawn reach through the window, and still you lie awake, blinking slowly. You finally close your eyes just as the bell rings far below in the great hall, signalling breakfast. You're not sure if you slept at all. When you sit at the long Ravenclaw table, the castle feels different. It's as if the very air around you has thickened, though no one else seems to notice. Students chatter and laugh around you, filling plates with eggs and toast and steaming porridge, their voices echoing off the high stone walls. But you hear something beneath it all, a low hum like an invisible harp string stretched taut. You glance at your goblet, and for a moment, the pumpkin juice within seems to ripple in a strange rhythm. You blink, and it's still again. Across the table, Liz raises an eyebrow, but says nothing. She always notices, but she never presses. You're grateful for it. After breakfast, you find yourself walking without thinking, your feet moving before your mind. You turn left when you usually turn right, climb stairs you've never taken before. The walls here are quieter, fewer portraits, fewer students. The light changes subtly. You pass through a corridor lit by floating lanterns. Their glow a pale violet, like dusk caught in the glass. There's a scent in the air, something woody, sharp and cold. Like pine in deep winter, you recognize it. It was in your dream. Your heart begins to beat slower, heavier, each thump pressing against your ribs like a knock at a closed door. You round a corner and stop. It's the same door. Impossible, but it's there. Towering, ornate, carved in moonstone and dark oak. The hands cupping the half moon shimmer faintly. No professors are nearby, no other students. It's as if time has narrowed down to this single moment. Your breath catches. You raise a hand. You don't even speak. The door sighs open with the sound of falling feathers. And you step inside. The room breathes around you as you step inside, as if the air has been holding itself for centuries and now exhales in relief. The scent is the first thing you notice. Aged parchment, the smoky trace of old incense, and something more elusive, a sweetness like wilted rose petals left too long in shadow. The floor beneath your feet creaks softly, not in protest, but in greeting, as if the wood remembers the rhythm of your steps. Shafts of muted light spill in from tall arched windows, filtered through thick curtains of velvet the color of midnight. Dust hangs in the air, swirling slowly, caught in the beams of pale gold like tiny fireflies suspended in a spell. This is the headmistress's office, and yet it feels untouched by recent time, like a preserved memory, sealed behind the threshold until now. The walls are lined with books, but not the usual organized rows found in Hogwarts' many libraries. Here, they lean and slant and pile atop one another like sleeping animals, bound in dark leather, cracked parchment, and spines without titles. Between the shelves, peculiar objects sit nestled into alcoves, crystal instruments, cages made of silver wire, and clocks with no hands that tick to a rhythm you can't follow. A globe in the corner spins slowly on its own, glowing with faint, violet continents you do not recognize. The portraits on the walls are silent. They watch, but they do not move. Their painted eyes, which should follow your every motion, are fixed elsewhere, gazing into some invisible horizon behind you. You feel no threat, only the sense that you've entered a place sacred, unseen by most, and meant to be seen only by a few. You move deeper, your breath shallow, your fingers barely grazing the backs of chairs and the edges of long-forgotten scrolls. At the far end of the room stands her desk, Professor Elvera's. It is massive, ancient, and scarred with the lines of time and use. A quill lies broken across a parchment where words trail off mid-sentence. A candle, though unlit, emits a faint warmth and the faint scent of bergamot and cedar. Behind the desk, a tall, high-backed chair carved with phoenix feathers looms empty. It is strange to think of her not being here. She was always a presence in the halls, graceful, composed, unknowable. You remember the way her eyes could still a room, as if she saw things far beyond the moment. And now, you are here, in her sanctum, without invitation, or perhaps with one whispered through the veil of sleep. The air shifts again, and suddenly you're not alone. From the shadows near a bookcase, Amari steps out. He moves like a reflection in rippling water, quiet, almost unnoticed until he is already present. You opened it, he says, not a question. His voice carries no surprise, only a deep knowing, as if he had been waiting for this moment to unfold. He doesn't come closer, just watches you with his usual stillness, like a statue thinking. You spoke the name, he adds, and the words vox umbra echo inside you once more, though you do not speak them aloud. You nod, uncertain. There's a part of you that wants to ask how he knows, but another part, deeper, already understand that Amari often knows things he should not. Before you can respond, a soft thud behind you startles you. You turn, and there is Callum, who clearly hadn't meant to follow, but did anyway. He's clutching his wand like a lifeline, though its broken tip glows weakly, flickering like a nervous heartbeat. His eyes are wide, his mouth half open. I didn't mean to. Well, I did, but I didn't think it would. He starts, then stops, staring around the room with a look that hovers between awe and fear. This place, it's not supposed to let anyone in. It's supposed to be sealed since... He trails off, perhaps remembering something, or hearing a sound only he can detect. His shoulders shake slightly. You notice, then, the way he always holds himself a little off-center, like something within him is trying not to collapse. None of you speak for a long moment. The silence in the room is not empty. It is filled with layered echoes of time, as though every memory contained within these walls hums softly beneath the floorboards. Then, Lise steps into view, barely making a sound, her dark robes blending with the shadows. She doesn't look at you right away, but at the desk, her gaze sharp and unreadable. So it finally opened for someone? She murmurs, mostly to herself. She walks past the rest of you and runs her fingers along the edge of the desk, then taps the wood twice. A drawer opens with a whisper, as if it too was waiting. From inside, she pulls out a single object, a photograph framed in tarnished silver. You all move closer, slowly. The photo is old, faded in the way magical photos rarely are. The edges are curled, the color washed into grays and browns, like memory eroded by rain. It shows a group of students, 6 of them, standing at the edge of the Black Lake. The trees in the background are bare, their limbs like bones against a winter sky. 5 of the students move in subtle loops, laughing, adjusting scarves, brushing snow off shoulders. But the 6th figure does not move at all. You, or someone who looks like you, standing still, silent, facing the camera with eyes that pierce through time. Your stomach tightens. You do not remember this. You cannot. Amari looks at the image with narrowed eyes. That isn't just a photo, he says carefully. It's something else. Something trapped. Callan leans closer, but flinches back. It looked at me, he says in a whisper, and you can't tell whether he's joking or terrified. Lise is watching you now, her expression unreadable, but you can feel her mind working behind her stillness. What if the photo isn't showing the past? She says slowly. But a moment that hasn't happened yet. The idea chills you more than the cold draft coming in through the tall windows. And yet, there's a strange pull. Like the door before. Like the dream. You cannot look away from the version of yourself locked inside the frame. You reach out. The glass is cool beneath your fingertips, and the surface ripples slightly at your touch. Not enough to alarm, just enough to confirm that what lies inside is not inert. A memory, or a message, or a warning. You glance up at the others. Even Callan is quiet now. The office no longer feels like a room you stumbled into. It feels like a threshold, one that has waited years, decades perhaps, to be crossed. And somehow, it chose you. The question is why? But you don't ask it aloud, because deep down you're starting to realize the answer has already begun to unravel, like a spell whispered too close to sleep. You don't remember sitting, but suddenly your legs are folded beneath you on the velvet rug in front of Elver's desk, the silver-framed photograph nestled gently in your lap. The edges of the frame are cold, biting even, as though they've been dipped in frost that resists the warmth of touch. You can still see the reflection of yourself. No, not a reflection, a version of you, trapped behind the glass, unmoving while the others in the photo shift and smile and walk through their memories like smoke drifting over water. The static version of you seems to watch something just beyond the frame, eyes fixed on something none of you can see. That stare burrows into you, slow and deep. It doesn't feel like being watched. It feels like being understood. And it unsettles something inside you that was meant to remain undisturbed. The room has changed. You don't notice it at first, only sense it in the way the air grows heavier, like the moment before a storm rolls in over the lake. The shadows deepen, not menacingly, but with a kind of solemnity, as if the room itself has begun to listen. Liz paces slowly along the shelves, her fingers brushing the edges of books without opening them, eyes flickering with sharp interest. The frame, she murmurs, more to herself than anyone else. It's not enchanted in the usual sense. It's not a photo, it's a containment, a ward. You glance up. Her brows are drawn, her expression focused. Whatever is in there, it wasn't meant to move. Or maybe it moved once and they stopped it. Amari stands behind you, silent as ever, though his presence wraps around you like a cool breeze. His gaze isn't on the photo, but on the window beyond it, where the curtains have parted slightly and a shaft of afternoon light falls across the floor. This room was sealed the day Elvira disappeared, he says, his voice low, almost lost to the quiet. No one stepped inside for years, not even the ministry investigators. It resisted all spells. It waited. His eyes narrow. It opened for you, not by mistake. The implication clings to your skin like mist, and you don't respond. You can't. Callan is sitting on the floor a few feet away, his broken wand across his lap, fingers twitching restlessly. Maybe it's like a prophecy, he says, voice cracking slightly, like he doesn't believe the words, even as he speaks them. Or a memory someone put in a frame. Could be an old headmistress thing, right? Secret magic stuff. We're not supposed to know. He glances at you, then quickly looks away. You see something flicker across his face, a shadow of fear, or recognition. You can't tell which. The room falls quiet again, save for the gentle creak of wood, the hush of curtains shifting in unseen wind, and the faint ticking from one of the odd handless clocks on the shelf. You return your attention to the photograph. The version of you inside hasn't moved, but now, when you look closer, something is different. The snowflakes falling in the background, they've slowed. Or perhaps they're falling upward now, rising like ash. You blink. Yes, the scene has reversed. The students in the background, still vague, blurred at the edges, move differently now, as if the film is rewinding itself. One lifts a hand that moments ago had brushed the snow from a cloak. Now the hand folds into a pocket instead. The cold washes through you again, but it's not from fear, it's from knowing. The photo is responding to your presence. It is remembering backwards. I think it's trying to show you something, Liz says, crouching beside you now. Her hand doesn't touch the frame, but hovers close, as if it might sting, but not all at once, like it's easing open, letting you in slowly, or letting itself out. Her voice is calm, but the air between you feels charged. Amari steps closer, finally, kneeling on your other side. Try speaking again, he says softly. Say it, the words you dreamed. You hesitate. The syllables feel heavy now, as if weighted with something old and buried. But you whisper them, vox umbra. The room shivers. Not a tremor, not wind, a shiver, like breath drawn inward. The glass over the photo glows faintly, and the edges ripple like the surface of land disturbed by a stone. The snow within the image reverses again, drifting downward now in slow, deliberate spirals. But now, your image in the photo finally blinks. Just once. Then the mouth moves, only slightly, as if saying your name. Your real name. Callan gasps, scrambles to his feet, knocking over a stack of thin books. It's not just a ward, he whispers. It's a message. It's a version of you that already knew this was going to happen. He looks like he wants to leave, but his feet don't move. How is that even possible? His broken wand pulses weakly. Amari's hand hovers above the photograph now, not touching, but close enough to feel the energy moving from it. Time in Hogwarts is fluid, he murmurs. Always has been. Remember the time turners, the cursed corridors, the vanishing wing. What if this isn't from the past or the future? He looks at you now. What if it's a loop? You don't know how to answer, because something inside you is already uncoiling. A memory that isn't a memory. A dream that never ended. You remember standing by the Black Lake once. Was it last year? Was it in childhood? The exact image from the photograph. The same winter light. The same stillness in the water. But there were only 5 of you, weren't there? No, 6. Always 6. The figure who never moved. And now you wonder if it had always been you standing still while the others lived the moment around you. If you had always been in the photo waiting to remember. The light through the windows has grown dimmer. Outside, clouds coil in slow spirals, heavy and dark. The room feels smaller now, or perhaps more alive, like the walls themselves are leaning in to listen more closely. You glance again at the photo, and this time your image in the frame lifts its hand, slowly, deliberately, not waving, pointing to something outside the edge of the frame. And suddenly, Liz moves toward the far wall, where an old tapestry hangs, one none of you had noticed before. She reaches behind it, and there's a click, a seam in the stone, a hidden compartment, a small drawer, carved with moons and feathers and a sun in eclipse. It slides open with a hiss of old air. Inside, wrapped in black velvet, lies a silver pin in the shape of a crescent and a whispering flame. On its back, etched in ancient runes the words Custos Vox Umbra, guardian of the shadow voice. You do not know what it means yet, but you understand one thing clearly now. The door did not just open to show you a secret. It opened because you are a part of it. The silver pin glows faintly in your palm, cool yet pulsing with a quiet warmth that doesn't belong to metal or enchantment, but to memory. Not your memory, not exactly, but something older, something that threads through you like a chord struck on a forgotten harp. The shape of it, a crescent wrapped in a tongue of flame, feels almost familiar, as though you once traced its outline with your finger in the margins of a book, or glimpsed it carved faintly into the corner of an ancient stone. You stare at the words etched on the back. Custos Vox Umbra, guardian of the shadow voice. They hum softly in the stillness of your chest, not loud enough to frighten, only enough to awaken. Behind you, the air in the headmistress's office has deepened again, darker and closer, as if it too bends toward the pin. The candles, unlit until now, flicker to life in a slow wave. One by one, a circle of low golden flames illuminating the space with a quiet that feels sacred. Shadows soften, not receding, but folding inward, as if listening. Callan speaks first, his voice dry and low. That's not just a badge, that's a key. He doesn't say to what. His eyes dart to the photo still resting against the desk, where your still image now stands frozen once more. Hands still raised, still pointing to what has now been revealed. Lise brushes dust from the drawer's edge, her sharp gaze never leaving the pin in your hand. That symbol, I've seen it before, in a book that isn't supposed to exist. She glances at you, then Amari. The Vox Umbra wasn't a person or a spell. It was a thought, an echo of something that moved through time like light through water. Dangerous, mysterious, forbidden. Her tone isn't fearful, but weighted with caution. And it's linked to Elvira. This was her door, her room, her disappearance. You turn the pin over again, watching the way the flame seems to dance even though it's carved in still silver. Amari steps closer now, the soft whisper of his robes blending with the low creaks of the wooden floor. He looks at the pin, but says nothing for a long time then. The headmistress wasn't just a teacher. She was a keeper of things the ministry didn't want touched. Forgotten spells, ancient names, pieces of magic that no longer had homes in this world. He meets your gaze, and there is something unspoken in his eyes, a warning cloaked in sorrow. Whatever opened this door for you, it's not done opening. Outside, the light has shifted. You don't recall seeing the sky grow dark, but now, through the tall windows, the clouds roll thick and low across a twilight field. Shades of lavender and bruised blue swirl above the forbidden forest, and the trees in the distance sway not with wind, but with something more silent, more deliberate. A hush deeper than weather. Callan edges toward the window, peering out nervously. "I don't like that," he mutters. Feels like something's watching, listening. He shivers. Or waiting. And then the sound begins. Not a voice. Not quite. More like a breath. One that has traveled too far and forgotten its shape. It slips through the cracks of the room, through the shelves and stone and velvet, soft and high and constant. A whisper without words. Yet you understand. not with your ears, but somewhere else, just beneath the bones of your chest. The pin in your hand warms, and you feel it responding, not to the sound itself, but to the presence beneath it. A call answered. I think, Liz says slowly, the badge. It's not the only key. It's a tether, and the other end is still there. Wherever there is. You want to speak, but your mouth is dry. Instead, you look back toward the photo and see that your image is gone. The other students still move faintly, still loop through their enchanted memory, but your mirror self no longer stands among them. A void remains in its place, an outline of silence, and your heart pounds, once, then twice, loud and echoing. Amari's voice cuts through it. It's moving again. He points toward the bookcase on the right. One of the thick tomes has begun to slide outward, revealing a second seam in the wall. This one opens, not with a click, but with a soft exhale, like lungs finally releasing breath after a long silence. Behind it, a spiral staircase descends into black stone. No light beckons, no enchantments glow. It's an invitation written in shadow. You hesitate, then place the pin carefully inside your robes, against your skin. The metal hums quietly, as if grateful. Amari moves first, stepping into the stairwell without hesitation. His presence, quiet and calm, steadies something in you. Liz follows next, fingers wrapped around her wand, eyes sharp. Callan lingers, of course, but when you turn back and offer your hand, he takes it wordlessly. Together, the four of you descend. The stone beneath your feet is damp, cool, worn smooth by generations of footsteps, or none at all. The staircase coils inward like the shell of some ancient creature, and the farther you go, the more the walls seem to breathe. The air shifts from musty to mineral, then to something else entirely, something faintly sweet and warm, like rain over old soil, or candle wax melting into cedar. The whisper follows you, softer now, like wind moving through dreamt corridors. It never grows louder, only deeper. When you finally step off the last stair, the chamber that greets you is impossibly vast. A vaulted cavern carved into the very bones of the castle, with roots of old trees hanging like chandeliers above. Veins of silver threading through the stone. In the center stands a circular platform etched with glowing runes, and upon it, nothing. Just silence and air thick with anticipation. But your chest tightens, and you feel it again. You've been here before, or maybe not you, but something of you. The others spread out slowly. Callan clings to the edge, eyes darting to every shadow. Liz kneels near the runes, tracing them without touching. Amari stands still as a statue, his back to you, watching the far wall. Then his voice, low and even. There's something behind the stone. He lifts his hand, and the wall begins to shift, stone folding into itself like paper burning inward. A small alcove reveals itself, and inside, another photograph. You walk closer. It's cracked, and the image within flickers like damaged film. But you see faces, familiar. One is Elfara, younger, softer. Beside her, 5 students, not the ones from the lake, others. One wears the same badge now pressed against your heart. Another has eyes like yours. Not the same face, but the same stare. The photo jerks, then fades, and the whisper stops. In the silence that follows, a single word forms in your mind. Return. The whisper has stopped, but the silence it leaves behind feels louder than sound. Thick, pressing, almost tangible. You can hear your own breath now, soft and uneven, mingling with the slow drip of water somewhere deep within the stone walls. The photograph in the alcove no longer flickers. Its image has gone still, blank almost, like a page erased by time. But your reflection, the one that vanished from the photo in Elvira's office, has not returned. It is as if that piece of you has stepped away, gone wandering deeper into the mystery that has unfolded beneath Hogwarts' oldest bones. You reach up and touch the pin beneath your robes, and it pulses once, faintly. A heartbeat, not your own. Lise has moved closer to the platform now, her fingers tracing a curve of runes that begin to glow with her nearness. These aren't just protective, she murmurs. They're anticipatory. This room was built to wait. She looks up at you, eyes sharp beneath the fringe of her dark hair. And I think it's been waiting for you. The words settle over your shoulders like a cloak too large to wear, woven from threads you don't remember choosing. Amari says nothing, but his gaze has shifted, no longer toward the walls or the runes, but toward you, as if he too is trying to understand what you are becoming in the folds of this deep magic. Callan shifts restlessly near the alcove, wand tucked beneath his arm, his thumb tracing the jagged fracture where it split long ago. "This is all wrong," he mutters. Too quiet, too expectant. Magic this old doesn't sleep without a reason. He backs away from the cracked photograph, flinching slightly as the image flickers back to life, only for a second, just long enough for Elvira's eyes to turn and look straight out of the frame. Her expression is calm, but not peaceful. More like someone waiting for you to ask the right question. And suddenly, you do. You don't know why the words come, only that they do, quietly. "Where did you go?" The chamber answers, not in sound, but in light. From the base of the platform, the runes ignite in sequence, one by one, in a circle, forming a glyph that spins, slowly, then faster, until it glows with the same silver hue as the pin against your chest. You step forward instinctively. The platform doesn't rise or open or shift, but the air above it warps. Not quite a doorway, not quite a veil, but something in betweens. A shimmer like the surface of still water before the first raindrop falls. You can see movement in it, shapes not fully formed. Shadows of corridors, you know. A flicker of starlight through a high tower window. A hand. Yours. Not yours. Lise inhales sharply. It's not a portal. It's a memory, but alive. She circles the platform slowly, her voice steadier than her expression. This is Vox Umbra. This is what it does. It doesn't show the past. It summons it. It listens to the echoes of what was and brings them forward. She pauses, and I think it's trying to bring something back. You reach toward the veil, not touching, just close enough to feel the chill that drifts off it like air from a forgotten cellar. It smells faintly of parchment, winter air, and lavender. Elvira's scent. You've passed it in the corridors once, Years ago. You remember now. Amari steps beside you. If you go in, he says softly, you might not come back the same. You might not come back at all. His voice is low, not warning you, but honoring the weight of choice. But you open the door, and that means something. His eyes rest on yours, and for a moment, you see a flicker of something vulnerable behind his cool demeanor. Not fear, hope, or perhaps resignation. Callan groans behind you. Are we really going to follow glowing runes into a spell memory that's humming like a cursed harp? But despite his words, he steps closer too. I hate this, he adds, but I'm not letting you go in there alone. The veil stirs as you step onto the platform. Your feet pressing softly into the ancient stone. The silver light rises along your legs, curling like smoke. It doesn't burn. It welcomes. Lise joins you, arms crossed tight, lips pressed in a line. Let's just remember, she says, this might not be a memory we want to bring back. But she doesn't hesitate either, and neither does Amari. The four of you stand there, side by side, and the veil pulses once, then draws you in. The transition is not a pull or a fall, it is a folding, like stepping between 2 pages of a book where your name was written in invisible ink, now illuminated. The light swallows you, but not in blindness. You can see, and what you see is Hogwarts, but not. The corridors are the same, and yet older. The stones less worn, the banners slightly faded in different ways. There are students, walking, laughing, vanishing through doors, but none of them see you. You try to speak, but no sound leaves your mouth. You try to move, but your feet glide more than step. You are not in the castle. You are through it, like wind. Amari appears beside you again, his eyes wide, reflecting golden candlelight that floats impossibly above the great hall ceiling. You look down. A ceremony is underway. Elvira stands at the head table, radiant and strange, her robes deep blue and edged in the same silver as your badge. She speaks, though you can't hear, but others listen. 5 students stand before her, each holding an identical badge to yours. And then you see it. One of them is you. Not a reflection, not a twin, but you, standing on that floor, among the 5, gaze locked on Elvira, holding the badge you now carry. Lise stares in shock. Callan is frozen, his lips trying to form words. But the moment stretches like a spell in suspension. Is this time travel? He mouths. But even you can feel it. It isn't. You aren't there. You are remembering. Or rather, the magic is remembering for you. And you are the ink it needs to write the memory down. Suddenly, the hall flickers. The images tear. The scene ripples into shadow and smoke, and the last thing you see is Elvira turning toward you. This you. Her eyes meeting yours across a void of time and dream and memory. Her mouth opens, and you hear her voice, finally, like a bell struck once in the depth of night. It's not a memory. It's a return. Then the veil collapses, and everything goes dark. Darkness wraps around you like a velvet curtain, thick, almost warm, but endless. There is no floor beneath your feet, no wind, no up or down. only the silence of falling without movement. You try to call out, but the air has changed. It's not emptiness. It's listening. You're not alone. The pin beneath your robes pulses softly against your chest, as though beating in time with something vast and unseen. Then, like threads woven slowly through fog, the darkness begins to shift, and you see the outline of a door. It's not a door you know. Carved from old wood dark as night, it's veined with silver filigree that pulses like veins, and in its center, the same crescent flame sigil glows faintly. You do not touch it. It opens for you. No sound. No hinge. Just a slow parting like breath exhaled after centuries. On the other side is light. Not bright, not blinding. Golden, dappled like sunlight through trees after rain. And beyond the light, a library. But not Hogwarts library. This one is impossibly tall, stretching into shadowed arches and shelves made of ash-grey stone. The books hum softly, as if alive. Dust drifts through the air like memory. You step forward, and your feet finally meet ground, cold, polished, ancient. A domed ceiling curves above you, like the inside of a cathedral, and carved into its surface is the same phrase that haunted your dreams. Vox umbra. The voice beneath the shadow. It echoes in your bones. Luce appears beside you first. She's silent, watching the ceiling. Her fingers brushing the spines of the books, as if reading their secrets by touch alone. This isn't a memory, she says quietly. This is a place stitched between moments, a pocket of time that's survived everything. She gestures around her, and you begin to see more clearly. The shelves are not alphabetized. They're chronological, not by written date, but by feeling. You sense it in the air. Grief here, love there, something ancient farther down that tastes like stars and sorrow. Callan emerges next, holding his wand close, even though its tip glows faintly of its own accord. I saw something, he murmurs, before this place swallowed us. I saw you, or someone like you, in the great hall. His voice trembles, not with fear, but with a fragile kind of awe. You looked different, older, or not older, just more real. You don't answer, because you saw it too. That version of yourself standing beneath Elvira's gaze, holding the badge like it had always belonged to you. Not borrowed, not discovered, chosen. Amari steps forward last, from a shadow between two bookcases. His expression is unreadable, but his eyes are lit with a rare intensity. We're not guests here, he says. We're not even intruders. This place was waiting for us. He turns his gaze toward you, waiting for you. And as if to answer him, a flicker of silver light threads through the farthest row of books, weaving downward in a slow spiral. It draws you, soft and certain, like a melody you once knew. You follow it. The others stay close, but this is your path now, your rhythm. The books here don't just rest, they pulse. And as you pass, they open of their own accord. Not all the way, just enough to whisper. And you hear them, not with your ears, but with that deeper part of your mind that's been slowly waking. One book shows Elvira in a garden lit by starlight, speaking with someone whose face has been blurred by time. Another shows her writing at a desk, your name appearing across the parchment, before she ever lifts her quill. Another shows her weeping in silence over a locked box, the pin glowing faintly beside her. Finally, you reach the center of the spiral. Here, the floor is smooth, unmarked stone, and in the middle stands a pedestal made of black glass. Upon it, a book bound in dark green leather, its cover bare except for one embossed symbol, your badge. You step closer, the air tightening, and as your hand hovers above the cover, the pages flutter open on their own. Not words, images. You. But not just you now. You across times. You in shadows. You at the lake. You in the headmistress's office. You touching the veil. You standing beside Elvira. You vanishing. You returning. The book records not just history, but potential. Paths not walked, choices hovering like leaves in still water. It is your story, but written with ink that changes each time you breathe. Amari watches from behind you, his voice a whisper. This is what she hid. Not just secrets, not just magic, but you. You look at him. Why? He answers without hesitation. Because you're not just remembering the past, you're being remembered by it. And you understand then, this place isn't holding history, it's binding it, threading it through chosen souls to preserve what the world isn't ready to lose. The final page turns. A new image appears. Elvira. She's standing in a different room now, one wrapped in tapestries that ripple with moving light. Her eyes are tired, but burning with conviction. If you're seeing this, her voice echoes through the space, though her lips don't move. Then the seal has broken, and the voice has found its bearer. Her gaze locks on yours. You are the return, the echo we waited for. But you must choose. Bind the voice again, or speak it. The image dissolves. Silence returns. Callan shuffles nervously. I don't like choices where we don't know the consequences. Liz nods in agreement. Binding it means burying it again, protecting Hogwarts from what it doesn't understand. Speaking it means changing something fundamental, maybe forever. She looks to you, but either way, it's yours to decide. Amari places his hand gently on your shoulder. There's no safe path, only the right one, and that's never clear until you walk it. You stare down at the book, still open, waiting. The pin beneath your robes pulses once more, and you begin to speak. Your voice does not rise in volume, but in depth. It doesn't echo against the stone walls of the hidden library, nor does it disturb the hush that has settled over the spiral of ancient books. Instead, it enters something older than air, older than language. The syllables are not yours alone. They come from somewhere deep beneath the memory of your tongue, rising like warmth from the earth. As you speak, the light in the sigil on your chest begins to flare, not with heat, but with clarity. The air sharpens. You feel it. The magic doesn't resist you. It recognizes you. I speak, you say, not to command, but to remember. The book on the pedestal responds immediately. Its pages turn in a sudden gustless rush, stopping on a blank parchment that begins to fill with ink, as though summoned by thought. Images appear, not only of you or Elvira, but of others. A boy who once guarded secrets in the Forbidden Forest. A girl whose song calmed a cursed mirror. A centaur whose vision saw the war before it began. and woven among them, glimpses of Amory, of Callan, of Lise, your friends, your constants. Their presence in your journey was never by accident. They were part of the voice too, part of the shadow's echo. And now, the story folds them in. Lise steps beside you, her eyes narrowed but not in fear, rather with concentration. "You've changed the book," she whispers, watching the ink spiral outward like roots finding their way through soil. No, not changed, rewritten, with memory still intact. She runs her fingers lightly along the edge of the page. The old magic, vox umbra. It always required silence, secrets. That was its price. But you've made it speak with the memory, not in spite of it. She exhales slowly. You've made it honest. Callan, standing on the other side, lets out a shaky laugh. I didn't think honest magic could feel this terrifying. His wand, broken still, buzzes faintly at his side. The crack running through it pulses with the same light as the badge now, and for a moment he splurges at it like it might split open again. "Do you think we're done?" he asks. "I mean, did we win?" He tries to make it sound like a joke, but the silence that follows speaks louder. Amari doesn't answer at first. He's staring upward now, at the ceiling, which has begun to shift. The runes carved into its stone dissolve like melting frost, revealing Stazn. Sedars, real ones. The sky above Hogwarts. You see the constellations exactly as they are now, not as they were in the past. "We're not finished," he says finally, voice slow. "But we've unburied something that matters." He gestures around the library, now humming faintly. "And we've made a place for it in the present." Something moves behind the pedestal. You turn, and she's there. Elvara, not as she was in the memory, and not as you saw her in the photograph, but real. And now, her figure glows faintly, not ghostly, not spectral. Something closer to an after-image, one that breathes. Her robes shimmer with woven silver, her expression calm, tired, but not sad. She meets your gaze, and something passes between you, at the thread being handed over, soft as light on water. "You heard it," she says. Her voice is wind through leaves, the voice I buried, the shadow I feared. She looks down at the book. "When I first opened this place, I thought silence was protection, that keeping the voice hidden would preserve what little balance we had left. But it turns out all it did was hold time still, until you step forward, unsure what to say. But she nods as if she understands the words you don't speak. You brought light into it, not to burn it away, but to give it shape. That was the difference. That was the key." She looks to the others, then back to you. "I can rest now. The memory no longer needs me." Her form begins to fade, not dissolving, but returning to wherever it had been waiting. But before she vanishes fully, she says one last thing, soft as starlight. "You are now its keeper, but not its prisoner." And she's gone. Silence again, but peaceful now. The kind of quiet that follows understanding, not fear. You turn to your friends, and none of you speak at first. There's no need. The library remains, no longer hidden, but waiting, open. Its books hum like they're breathing. The badge on your chest dims, now just a soft glow. A reminder, a promise. Luce finally breaks the stillness. So, what now? Her voice is low. Do we keep it secret again? Do we tell the school? You look around and realize there's no answer yet. Not a clear one. But something inside you knows that this isn't about announcing it to the world. It's about preserving it properly, letting it breathe, letting it choose who it speaks to next. You make your way back, not through the veil as before, but through the spiraling shelves that part gently as you pass. The path is there now, permanent, living. And when you step through the final arch, the cold stone of the headmistress's office greets you once more. It's early morning. The sky beyond the tall windows glows pink and amber. The office is empty, though the photograph still sits in its alcove. But now it shows something new. Not Elvira, not the past. It shows you, seated where you are now. Eyes clear, not haunted. Callan stares. That's not creepy at all. But he smiles. Amari leans against the column, arms folded. We should probably pretend we snuck in and caused minimal damage. He raises an eyebrow, though the bit where we rethreaded the deepest spell seal in the school might be harder to explain. Liz smirks. Let's just say we were studying. You look once more at the photo, your reflection nods, and something shifts, not just in the room but in you. A quietness. Not the silence of being unheard, but the peace of being known. The badge rests against your chest, like it's always been there. Later, you'll walk the halls again. Students will laugh, papers will flutter, owls will pass overhead with news and letters. Professors will scold and smile. The world will continue, untouched. But beneath the stones, a voice now hums with light, no longer in hiding. You'll pass a tapestry in a quiet corridor, one you've walked by 1,000 times. And this time you'll hear it whisper, not words, just a name, yours. And when you close your eyes that night, just before sleep takes you, the voice speaks one last time, not from outside, but from within. You are remembered, and sleep, at last, comes like a hush over water. Thank you for listening, dear dreamer. The story may have ended for now, but the echoes of it remain, soft as moonlight, gentle as the rustle of leaves outside your window. Let those echoes linger as you rest. Let them fold around you like a warm blanket, stitched with quiet magic and the soft hum of forgotten spells. What you've heard tonight isn't just a tale. It's a memory you've wandered through, a feeling you've touched, a door you've opened within. And now, as your body sinks deeper into stillness, and your breath flows slowly like a river in the dark, let yourself drift beyond the last words into silence. This space is always here for you, a calm corner of the night where the stories know your name, and the quiet welcomes you back again and again. If sleep hasn't yet taken you, that's perfectly fine. Let your thoughts meander like candle smoke through an old stone corridor. There's no rush, no right way to listen. Maybe you'll dream of Hogwarts tonight, its moving staircases, its whispering portraits, or a library that remembers you. Or maybe you'll simply float, light and untethered, on the feeling this story leaves behind. Either way, you are safe. You are held. Before we part, remember, there's more to come. More quiet adventures. more soft unraveling of mystery and wonder, waiting for you night after night. So if this story brought you peace, if it gave your heart a moment to breathe, I invite you to return. Subscribe, like, and join me again when the stars call and the world grows still. But for now, may your dreams be gentle, your rest be deep, and may the voice beneath the shadow sing you softly to sleep. Good night and sweet dreaming.